Student engagement in the blended learning environment. When we talk about engagement, we really mean engaging the brain. To engage the brain, the information we are asked to process must fulfill two characteristics. Number one, it must make sense. In other words, the information must be understandable on the basis of experience, and it must fit into our perception of how the world works. This is why addressing those pesky misconceptions early on in a lesson is very important. Number two, the information must have meaning to the learner. It must be relevant, and the student must have a purpose for remembering it. There are many different words that have been used to characterize engagement. Motivation, interest, attention, and involvement are just a few. According to Marzano and Pickering, the 4 topics or questions you see here constitute the typical aspects of any engagement discussion. These big 4 are the topics we will investigate further as we proceed through this presentation. How does the student feel? Emotions, according to Skinner, can have a very important influence on engagement. Positive emotions such as enthusiasm, satisfaction, pride, and vitality promote engagement, and negative emotions such as boredom, disinterest, anger, shame, worry, frustration, or sadness will foster disengagement. You can address negative emotions by maintaining a lively or quick pace. In the blended environment, this would involve providing just the right amount of time for the completion of activities, which will require some careful planning on your part, as it is very easy to control pace in a face-to-face environment, but much more difficult in the online world. We all know that laughter causes us to release endorphins that promote happiness. The use of humor in all learning environments aids in producing the positive emotions needed for effective engagement. The teacher can definitely promote positive emotions by demonstrating enthusiasm for the class, the students, the content, and just smiling. It's not as easy to smile in the online environment, but can you think of some ways that you could demonstrate enthusiasm online? In the next section of this course, you will explore teacher to student and student to student communication. Listen for ways to promote positive communication, hence impacting how do I feel. Am I interested? According to Ulrich Scheifele, there are 2 types of interest, situational and individual. Situational interest is short-term and can be characterized as focused attention, persistence, enjoyment, and curiosity. Think of students who focus on a discrepant event demonstration at the beginning of a science class. The shock or intellectual conflict the event elicits definitely engages students. They want to make sense of what and why the event happened. They have to merge previous knowledge and experience with new information. The other type of interest, individual, is longer term and is impacted by a student's general disposition towards a specific topic. Have you ever read a book that you could not put down until you finished it? The strategies mentioned on the next slides either promote situational or individual interest. Think for a moment. What type of interest is triggered by each strategy? Just to clarify inconsequential competitions, these would be types of things like Poll Everywhere or surveys in Google Forms. Research indicates there are different levels of importance for the human mind. The primary level is attention to survival requirements such as food, comfort, and shelter. Is it any wonder that students who come to school hungry on a regular basis have difficulty paying attention in class? Other levels of importance are determined by whether or not a student perceives an activity as relevant to self. Some strategies that incorporate the need for relevancy and personal application are choice and the use of case studies, problem or project-based learning, guest lecturers, field trips, community service projects, mentorships, and career explorations, just to name a few. Even if a student has positive responses to the other three questions we have addressed in this presentation, if the answer to "can I do" is no, the student may become disengaged. If you are aware of Carol Dweck's mindset, you understand that individuals with fixed mindsets will fail to make progress or be engaged because they don't think they are smart enough. They don't perceive that effort is important. Strategies to override this negative influence on engagement include providing students with clear objectives and an understanding of the expectations for mastery of content and skills, rubrics or checklists that allow them to track their progress. Effective feedback is timely, constructive, and individualized. It provides students with information about where they are now and where they need to be. It should trigger reflective thought in the student, not be punitive. Self-efficacy is tied closely to Dweck's mindset. A student with positive self-efficacy appreciates challenge, has positive self-esteem, and a stronger sense of commitment to task. Scaffolding of task, guided inquiry, and individualized encouragement are all strategies to promote engagement and deal with self-efficacy issues. In a few minutes, we will discuss your answers to these two questions. Be prepared to share. These are the references I used in preparing this presentation. I would strongly recommend the Marzano and Pickering text as an excellent resource for learning more about the topic of student engagement. The information provided in this text would apply to all learning environments, and if you have never read Mindset, it is definitely worth your time.